let's give you a basic overview of all windows we have in here. So you know by now the bins here, and of course you also have here a media browser which you can direct to your folder, and you can also import footage from here, which can be pretty helpful. And you have a library if you use a library, if you have any assets in here. But these are not too important. The most important are pretty much the bins and the project window right here. So this is clear. We have here on the top, this is going to be our preview. We can open up the clip here. So by double clicking, we're just going to open up a preview window where we can of course preview our clip and see what is this clip about. You can play this clip just by pressing spacebar, or you can just drag it here with your mouse. Here you have different settings, same pretty much to that preview here. You wonder, man, that looks quite similar, but this is the program preview, and this is going to show us what we have created in our sequence. So this is the preview of our timeline, what we have created in our sequence. And this preview here is just showcasing us the clip we have selected, and yeah, just to preview. And in here we can also create a selection. What does that mean? Is we can create an in point and out point. And by setting these in and out points, we can create a selection. So let's say we just want these second to drag into our sequence. So we can actually create an in point pressing I and out point pressing O. Now we have this icon here, which says drag video only. And now we can drag that video into our sequence. And it's just the area we have selected with the in and out points. But of course, in the timeline here, we can still change the duration. So yeah. That's not a selection which stays forever, which is locked. You're pretty flexible with that, but this can help with long clips to select different parts and like get all the selection in your main timeline. So in here you can also set the resolution. So right now I'm playing everything in full resolution, but if you have like really a lot of clips and they have high resolution, you might want to drop this to half resolution. Exactly the same here for the preview. Now it's showing the whole preview of our sequence, what we have created in half resolution. You can even drop it like lower to something like that, and that's gonna help to preview really high resolution footage. But if your computer is good, you can of course review your project in full resolution. And in here you can also go further into your shot, which can be helpful, or further out. So this is going to be 200, so we are closer in that shot. And yes, we can fit is going to make it fit to that comp. You have exactly the same options here, which can be helpful if you mask something, for example. Yes, and moving on to the another tabs up here. So you have effect controls. This one is really important. So now we don't see anything because we haven't really selected our clip yet. But if we click on it like that, we see all the effect controls of the clip we have. So, and this is really important because here is where all the editing actually, takes place. We can change the scale here. We can like scale in, scale out. We can change the position of our clip. If we like select motion, we can actually see the outlines and where our clip starts and ends. We can change the rotation. We can change the opacity. So if there's a clip below, you can mix that up. You can change the blending modes. And let's bring up a clip here on the top and let's reset everything. So now I have a second clip here on the top. You can just freely move them here, and Command C, you will always go one step back. So for example, now I'm changing like the blending mode to screen. So you can see you have a lot of options here to play around with the footage, to customize it to your needs, what I'm going to show you in all the tutorials. So blending modes are really important. You have the opacity, like you can create fades with that and everything else. You can also have the option to edit the volume and create masks. So, and a mask is pretty much something like that. We can just like mask out, for example, the wheel here. So a mask will just show a selected area, the wheel now, for example. So we can mask out parts to create transitions or different effects. We can also invert that mask here, go in with a scale keyframe. So this could be one transition, for example. You have all the different effects control here, which is really important to know. Yes, and this is like one of the most important windows here. And with all of the effects here, or different effects we can drag in from the effects tab, you can create keyframes, and you are going to create a lot of keyframes in your editing career. And it's pretty easy. It's always the same. For example, opacity, you want to keyframe the opacity. So we click on that stopwatch here, and now we created a keyframe. And this keyframe saved the data of 100%. Let's move forward in time. And let's say here we want to set, have a transition. So the opacity of the top clip is should be at 0. So let's put in 0. And now we can see we have the keyframe telling the clip, okay, here at exact this point, I want the opacity to be at 100. Okay. And then it goes from here to 0. And at this point, I want it to be at 0. So that's exactly what the clip does now, because we are telling it by setting keyframes. And that's pretty much the whole thing about editing, is setting keyframes. So you drag in effects and you set keyframes to them. So you tell the effect when to start, how high should be the value. And like, keyframing is a really, really important skill, which we are going to learn in a lot of tutorials. So one thing I want to mention here to the timeline, you can also, you have clips here, and if you have clips on top of each other, they will always be displayed the one on the top. So if I now drag this clip on top of the other one, this one's going to be placed first. So it's really important to know that the clip which is on top is always going to be shown in the final video, in the preview here. And moving on, you have some different scopes here and audio mixer, but these are not so important for now. You also have the text option to create transcripts and create captions, but we are going to get there later. But now I just want to give you like an overlook to everything. And this is actually like the most important window here. Like, you have the selection, you have the effects control. And if you don't see the windows like I have them here, you can just go up to Windows, Workspace, and make sure you selected all panels. Maybe it's going to set to something else because you are just opening Premiere Pro for the first time. So maybe it's here at learnings sometimes. So it might look like that. Don't get confused, no worries. You can just go up to Workspace and click on all panels, and it's going to look exactly like my setup right now. And here we come to the next point. You are free to move things around in Premiere Pro. That's what I really love. So let's say I want that window to be here. You can just like take it here and drag it to somewhere else. If you edit 9:16 footage, you might want to have your full screen here at the left, so you can preview it bigger. You can scale it down. So you go here to that rim, and you can just scale it up and down. And yeah, you're completely free to move. And I know at the beginning, it can be really confusing, and you're like, man, I mixed up everything. This does not look like I want to edit my video. Not a problem. You just go up here to Window, Workspace again, and either you reset it to the save layout, which is going to be standard right now, or you can either go to all panels, or if you have create your own one. Let's say I want to create a 9:16 workspace. So I always wanted to look like that. If I want to edit 9:16 footage, you can just set everything up, like position all the windows where you want them to have, and then go up to Windows and save this new workspace. And you can just name it, let's say 9:16, boom, okay, that's saved. So we go back, we want to edit 16:9 footage, not a problem. Here, so this is our 16:9 footage, and then we are like, okay, let's edit a video for Instagram. So let's switch to the 9:16 workspace, and instantly you have switched your workspace. So you can fully customize that, which can be really helpful. So let's go back to the all panels and move on. So by now, here's the project window. Here's where we drag in our footage, and here's the timeline. This is our place to be to edit. And up here, you can see the effects controls. You have the preview. You can do your selections here. Oh, another thing I want to mention, if you have your selection here, you can just pretty much drag in that video plus audio by just holding down on the video with your mouse and dragging it in. Just like that, you have dragged in the whole video, which can be super helpful and super nice. Cool.